Lazard reported an unexpected fourth quarter loss yesterday because of changes in the way that it pays employees. Mark Poerio is co-chair of the executive compensation practice in the Washington office of Paul Hastings, Janofsky Walker. He joins us this morning. Mark, let's talk about a couple of the things that Lazard is doing. First is, as Ken Jacobs, the CEO, says, going on the offensive. What do you make of that, given the fact that so many of the other big banks, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, et cetera, seem to be pulling in their horns, partly as a result of the political pressure coming from Washington, where you are?
Yeah, no, I think it's a very interesting take on it, a very bold approach. You know, cash has always been king on Wall Street, and the TARP bailout and the issues involving executive comp in the marketplace have certainly forced companies to take a deferred and careful approach. What Lazard has said is they're willing to pay the cash, and they feel like they have risk controls that make it appropriate to pay it. Their message should get to the people they want to reach in many respects, which is going to be the star talent that they want to recruit.
Okay, well, what about the people that they don't want to reach? We should add that Lazard is not a trading firm, unlike, say, a Goldman Sachs or a Morgan Stanley. Gets most of its business from mergers and acquisitions, advisory work, or restructuring. But what about the public? This is exactly what, you'd imagine the public doesn't want to see, big cash bonuses.
Oh, I think you're totally right that, executive compensation is such a sensitive issue. It's guaranteed to be explosive. But at the same time, I guess Lazard has made a judgment call that they can put together a responsible story, and they're trying to be in front of it by using the headline to show that they're being bold and taking their business offensively. It's a very interesting approach.
From your position as a compensation advisor, do you think that this is going to yield the results that Lazard is looking for? In other words, bringing to the firm some of those big M&A bankers that might currently be working for firms under compensation pressure?
Oh, yeah, I actually think it could work. We had the pendulum swing so far to the deferral side, reaching the extreme through the Ken Feinberg restrictions that he imposed on the TARP banks. Maybe you have to work 5 years to get 90% of your money. To the extent that that pendulum swings back towards something that pays out the cash on a more current basis, I think it's going to be very attractive and a great device for getting the best talent. Probably the best practice will end up being somewhere closer to the middle, which is a mix of the short-term cash that's always been paid, but nevertheless with a significant component that's long-term.
Do you think, though, we need a little more disclosure from Lazard, with only about 20 seconds left, about the rationale for the changes in comp policy?
Oh, yeah, I totally agree with that. The disclosure needs to be robust in terms of justifying and explaining to the public. And at this point, we have the public press release was very brief at this point.
Mark, thanks very much. That's Mark Poerio, co-chair of the executive compensation practice at Paul Hastings, talking to us about Lazard